Hey guys, thanks so much for joining me on Drive Chats today. Whether you're listening to the podcast or watching the YouTube video, stay tuned because I've got some awesome information for you. Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in to the newest edition of Drive Chats, where you guys get to ride along with me in the car to pick up my 3-year-old from preschool. If you're new, that's why it's called Drive Chats. So this is something new that I'm going to start doing on my ways to school to kind of help you guys, help me stay busy, and working on improving myself and helping others. So thanks so much for joining me today. This is live from my car, not necessarily live on the actual day that you are listening to it, but it is a recording from my car. So there may be some bumps, some rough spots in the videos, but it's all real and raw, and I just hope you guys enjoy these chats. If you do, let me know. Let me know some things you guys would want to hear about, learn about, and when I'm learning, you're learning. So today I just wanted to talk a little bit about the word when it comes to nutrition. When people say they cheated on their diet. I hate that word. I hate the word cheat when it comes to a nutrition plan because if you have to eat to live, right? And so it's just more about knowing what to fuel your body with. So when I eat things that I may necessarily not fit in with, my particular nutrition plan or what works for my lifestyle, I call it a treat. It really removes that guilt of, just associating food with morality and associating good and bad and having that guilt when you're eating or having that anxiety surrounding food. And I think it's really important that we reshape that and rephrase that in our minds, because as humans, we have to eat, we have to fuel our bodies, but we are also human and we're not perfect, and we are going to have those moments where you want that cookie, or you want that slice of pizza, or you want that soda, and those things are fine in moderation, and you definitely shouldn't be having those every day, but it's definitely something that we have to reform our minds around, because I think we as a society have become so dependent on associating food with good and bad, and giving it a morality and giving it this power over us. And when we remove that power from food and we start to think of it as fuel, and we start to think as these days that, we are treating ourselves, we think of them as treats, we think of them as something special. We don't think of them being surrounded by guilt and by, all these feelings of anxiety. I know when I was bigger and I thought about food, as good and bad, and I would get so much anxiety, and all I would think about is, what I ate that wasn't good, and what I ate that, it just made me feel guilty. It made me feel so bad for eating and for being human. And like I said, you shouldn't be eating these treats every single day, or at every single meal, but you really have to work in to your lifestyle these moments, because they're gonna happen, and if you let them have the power, then you're gonna feel guilty and you're gonna have all these negative feelings, and it could really affect, like I said in an earlier podcast, it could really affect that positivity that you want to have throughout your journey. It can really negatively affect that. It can have a bad impact on it. So definitely when you're having these moments, so for instance, yesterday I went to a baby shower, and I I'm recording this the same day as I'm recording another podcast, so if you hear me talk about the similarities, I don't go to baby showers every day. And I don't eat, cookies and stuff every day. But I really enjoyed myself, both socially and emotionally and mentally. And it was a good break. It was almost self-care for me. My husband took my toddler. I was able to spend some time with some ladies and really recharge my batteries. I had the baby, but right now she's in a stage where she's nursing, so she needs to be with me pretty much all the time. But it was she was really good, and that's a whole other thing. But I really think that preparing, so I planned ahead. I asked my friend who was hosting the baby shower, what kinds of foods are going to have there. And so I was able to mentally prepare for it. And that really took out the guilt of, I'm going to eat cookies, or I'm gonna have a piece of cake, or I'm gonna have this, and I prepared myself. I told myself, okay, you're gonna have this, and this, and I really planned ahead. And that was one thing that took the guilt and the anxiety out of it, that I wouldn't have done in the past, before I really started focusing on really fueling my body with the right things. And that really was just a turning point for me. That was actually a non-scale victory, but I think more people need to do that, whether it's planning ahead, whether it's bringing your own veggies, whether you say, okay, today is going to be a treat day, and not feel an ounce of guilt about that. That is so freeing, to not have that anxiety around food and not be obsessed with what you did right and what you did wrong, because we're humans. Like I said, we're not going to be perfect all the time. Nobody can say that they're 100 on point every single day, all year round, 24/7. We're human, and if you deprive yourself of those treats, and when you deprive yourself of something, if you tell yourself, I cannot have a slice of pizza, you're going to think about that slice of pizza, and that's all you're going to be thinking about, and it's really going to get into your head, and it can negatively affect you. And then when you do have that slice of pizza, you're going to feel so guilty. So why deprive yourself? Okay, here's some ideas. Choose a healthier alternative. Maybe you're going to do a fathead crust, or maybe you're going to do a cauliflower crust, or a multi-grain crust. You're going to make your own at home. Maybe you're going to use chicken as a crust. You can always do that. But we all know, there's those days where you just can't beat a slice of takeout pizza, or you can't beat a slice of delivery pizza. I mean, if we're being honest here. Like I said, this shouldn't be every day unless you're using the whole healthy alternatives. But depriving yourself is not a lifestyle, it's a diet, and it's not a sustainable one at that. So what I really want to drive home with you today, get it, drive home, is that it's so important to think of them and start rephrasing it. So when you think, oh, I'm cheating, stop yourself and say, hey, wait, whoa. I'm not cheating, because this is a lifestyle. This is not something temporary. This is something I'm going to do for the rest of my life. So we really have to start thinking of these as treats, and we really have to start taking that guilt out and rephrasing in our mind that it is a treat, and that this is a lifestyle, and that we're human, and that deprivation is not a way to live. We want something sustainable. We want something that we're going to be able to enjoy things. For example, when I was doing keto, I actually, my friend told me afterwards, after I had stopped doing it and I had started to really focus on a moderate, balanced diet, that they just stopped inviting me to things because they could never make anything that I was able to eat. And kind of hearing that, it hurt my feelings, but it was just an honest feedback and a really big lesson in being able to still enjoy life and enjoy food and love food even, and still have results, still improve and get better and fuel your body the way it needs to be fueled. And like I said, there is healthy alternatives, of course. But being able to be in a social setting and not feeling like guilty when you do eat something that may necessarily not be the best choice. And you just really have to, like I said, reshape your mindset around that, because mindset, it's all in your mind. That's where it all starts. And being able to do that is a huge non-skill victory. Being able to tell yourself, I'm not feeling any of this guilt. I'm not feeling any of this guilt. I'm not feeling any of this anxiety surrounding food. Like I said, it's so freeing, and I don't think I have ever in my life felt that until recently, when I started to really realize that, like, it's all a trial and error for each and every individual person, that we all have to see what works for us, because what works for me is not going to work for somebody else. We have to know certain things about our body. We have to learn about our body. We have to track what we're putting in and see how it's working to fuel our bodies. If we're eating something and it could be healthy, but maybe it doesn't work for our body. So for example, chickpeas are a really great source of a lot of things: protein, fiber, carbs. But personally, I have to limit my intake because they bloat me. They give me really bad pains in my stomach, in certain forms, which is so weird. And I wouldn't have known that unless I was listening to my body and really learning what works for me and what is fueling my body and what I need to do. Because chickpeas work great for some of my friends, and that's great. But they don't work for me, and I learned that through tracking. I learned that through listening to my body and seeing things in a different light and looking at them as lessons, and really doing the whole trial and error thing. So I am here now. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope this was helpful for you. If it was, and if you really enjoy these drive chats, please let me know. Thank you so much for tuning in and sharing this time with me. I really appreciate it. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share with everybody you know, anybody who you think would enjoy this. Don't forget that we are on Apple Podcasts now, as well as a bunch of other platforms. So if you can go ahead and leave a review, that would be great, so helpful, and thank you so much. So much for tuning in today and sharing this time with me. Please stay tuned for future episodes and check out my podcast.